active for the good of our nation. You're listening to Hotline on Radio Jamaica 94 FM. My name is Orville Taylor. And right now we have Grow Your Business. And it's a feature sponsored by the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. It's an entity that has been around for the last 23 years. And the JBDC is an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and has been growing strength by strength over the decades, assisting large numbers of individuals to establish, maintain, and to grow their business. I have with me now Janine Fletcher-Taylor. Again, the same disclaimer. What a beautiful last name this lady has. Manager of the Marketing Services Unit with us. She's going to be talking to us, therefore, about, marketing strategies. Good morning, Janine. How are you?
Good morning. My name's Sheikh. I'm doing well, and I hope you are too.
All right. Just a cousin, yeah? Yeah, cousin.
Cuz.
Yeah, yes, cuz.
You can work with that.
You can work with it, yeah, man.
Yeah.
The name sounds nice, yeah, man. Jojo. Right. So, today, though, you are going to take us to that next phase. So you have the stuff, you have already guided us as to how to improve our product, to get our product market ready. But you can have the things there, and they're in your warehouse, or they're on your desk, or in your computer, and you don't know how to get them out.
That's correct. So, what we will be talking about today is how JBDC supports you now with a market development plan. And it's a big word, but really what it is are what are some of the strategies and tactics that we are going to use to introduce you to the market to gain our first target. We may say 100 units. We want to sell 100 units and see what information we get from there. We may want to look at what the next 12 months will look like, how we are going to be growing, how you access that market. And so the development plan is really a short-term tactical plan that says, okay, based on what we know about your competitors, based on what we know about your product and your consumer behavior, these are some of the low-hanging fruits that we can target to get you to start earning. The thing about market access is that you really are gambling in the first stage. You can enhance the potential of that gamble by ensuring that you do all the things that we've talked about in terms of preparing. But really, when you get to market, it is the market that takes over from there. And they tell you how they see your product, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to spend a lot of time helping them to get to know that you exist. So you may need to do a little, market awareness activities. You may need to get into the trade. You may need to maybe do an ad. It all depends on the nature of the product and so on. Or you have social media now, which are much more cost-effective ways of getting persons to be aware of you. And then when they start responding to you now, you may need to come up with responsive tactics, yes? So it's not something you can predetermine. It is a very organic process. Market says this, I do that. Market says this, I do that. And there's always that act and response type of thing. One thing we want to really reinforce is if you are paying attention to your customers, remember that they are the ones that's going to grow that business in terms of paying more and more, buying more and more. So if you are not interacting and engaging with them, you can't just make the product, set up the business, and then expect somebody else to sell it for you without your involvement. And so we find that there is a need for persons to pay attention to say that first year of what is taking place in the market. The other thing is how we view marketing, because it's not just about advertising and promotion, which is typically what persons think about when you say marketing, it's advertising and promotion. But you have a number of products going into the market. So you have 5. Over the last 6 months, which one has been selling the best and why? Which one has not been selling the best? That means you have to have some processes built into how you are recording information on your customers, on the performance of your product, and how much more you're earning each day. This attention to process is something that we see as a weakness in our MSMEs. Not much attention is paid to documenting the learning as you go along, and then making sure that whatever you're learning is informing your next action or your next strategy or your next tactic. And so for us, marketing has to do with recording the information, recording and having a documentation process built in to look at your transactions, you naming your customers. So are you recording your transactions by customer name, or are they random cash items? So when you look, you see 100,000, but you can't really tell how many persons contributed to that and so on. So marketing audits are done after you have accumulated, say, 12 months of that information. And the marketing audit then says, okay, this is what is working, this is what is not working. And that's another service that JBDC would be providing. But it is based on the stage of the business, right? So you have to do that kind of learning for a 12-month period before we can even think of doing a marketing audit. You have to have information for us to look at and analyze. And from that, that's when we look at a more long-term marketing action plan. So it is a process. It is if you're not familiar with marketing and familiar with how you're going to need support. And what we try to do at JBDC is focus on those foundation types of support until you're earning the kinds of revenues that you can pay either hire staff or pay a consultant to do it, right? But in that foundation, say the first 2 years, we see the business as an incubator. And it's really looking at short-term tactics that help persons to move from 10 units to 100 to 1,000 and grow in a way that the business is, it's not going to put the business into a shock. It's not going to overpromise to the market and under-deliver, but it's using what we call iterations or different types of information as they come in and being very responsive. So it's some amount of agility and a whole lot of involvement by the entrepreneur.
Right.
Always try to ensure that it's a partnership. And so while we guide, the action actually is done by the entrepreneur.
You know, Janine, one of the things I've noticed when people are setting up businesses is that even if you're offering a service that you think that you're an expert on, right? So, for example, quite ironically, I know people who come from out of marketing and who come from out of media and social sciences, and therefore they decide they're going to set up a PR firm or something of the sort. But believe it or not, they don't necessarily have the business savvy. And in as much as they understand marketing, but because they're so deeply involved in their own thing, they still have to go and get advice or help elsewhere, even though they are substantively experts in that area. So it's a big deal that the expertise is there and you are neutral. You're able to step back and say, I hear you, I know that this is something that you know very well. However, follow us now. Because we have seen more than, you have only seen one or two firms, right, as an entrepreneur. But JBDC has seen hundreds. Here are some of the best practices. Follow us.
Even our perspective on marketing, as a marketer with JBDC, pay a lot of attention to numbers. Surprisingly, it's a matter of things that guide what we decide to do. And so if you are not understanding what your numbers are saying, if you are not understanding how your product, your portfolio is performing, you're spending time to produce things that perhaps are not the best use of your resources, how are you able to identify that sort of information? How do you know, for example, that yes, I'm selling and my revenues are growing, right? But are you spending more to get that more?
There
is
you
it
go.
efficient? So when you look at the business and you try to, when you look at even the analysis of our clients, financial management, marketing, and strategy. Making informed decisions. The biggest deficit is the information. You are not record keeping, you are not recording. It's even a notebook, It's nothing fancy that we're talking about, but you have to have information there, because it's not as the world would make it seem that marketing is just this the flair and the creativity and the ads and the social media and the influencer. But how is that converting to money? That's what JBDC is interested in, because we want to see the revenues grow.
Right.
We want to see the units increasing. We want to understand, okay, how far can we push the market to be aware? Should we go soft and take your time so that you can build the business up, or should we go hard because you have a lot of inventory that you need to push and get out, right? So I do appreciate that persons want to just get going, and you don't want to spend too much time in analysis paralysis and being too bureaucratic.
Right.
But we're talking about sustainable business growth. We are not talking about vanity metrics, as my colleague would talk about it. So nothing sustainable underneath that. We're talking about profitability.
Oh wow.
Competitiveness.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at the clock, Janine, and we have to wrap up and get out of here. Right. But long and short of it, don't think that you can market. You may be lucky and be able to market your stuff all by yourself. But if you have any doubt, the JBDC is available, and it costs little or nothing to get the kind of assistance that you need. You can't pay for it any other place. How do they find you very quickly?
We are at 14 Camp Road, and we are also located across the island in our small business development centers. If you go online, www.jdbdc.net, you will find all our locations online, and you can book your appointments online, www.jdbdc.net.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. We just had Grow Your Business. Janine Fletcher-Taylor, Manager of the Marketing Services Unit at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Messages for you. We'll continue in a few.
The voice of the